Go live without a title. You should see us come up pretty soon on Rusty Chats if you're looking at that.
I see something that says Thursday at 7.
No,
there's 3.
Hold on a second.
Nope.
We're on there now, so scroll down a little bit and you should see it. You may need to refresh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, that's Rob. That's Rob.
Refresh. Just
refresh. Oh, there I am. Look at that. So now I hit share?
You hit share and share it to your page, and it'll probably say, like, watch a live party.
Share what? With my friend's timeline? Share to a group? Start a watch party?
Yep, start a watch party.
Watch party. And post.
Now it should be on your page. Julie's sharing it to mine and hers. And we will be live in just a second. We're live on Rusty Chats.
All right, so we can start drinking.
Yeah.
Just a drink with entrepreneur.
You should have already been drinking.
I'm thirsty.
Once she gives me the thumbs up, then that means it's on my page. All right, so it's on my page. Check over to Scott's and make sure it's live on his as well. All right, man. So here we are. Me and Scott Snipas, the mad scientist. Julie,
I'm not mad. I'm a happy scientist.
You're the happy scientist. Now that you're drinking, how do I get this full page here again?
Right. I was mad just a little while ago. Now I'm getting ready to pour me a beer here. That's what I'm drinking. Out of my chalice from the same brewery. Pliny the Elder.
Where's that at?
Petaluma, California.
And is this an L or a this is just an amber or L? What is it?
Double IPA.
Double IPA. So are we gonna get like we did in Atlanta that time? In Asheville that time that you happened to show up?
Dude, I am never gonna live that down, man. Never living that down. My kids still bring that up to the day. Every time I drink, man. Remember that time? Remember that time? You were Rusty was staying at the same hotel with us, and you kept saying, "Hey, guess what? Rusty's staying with us at the same hotel." Over and over and over again.
Oh man, we're into it. So I'm back with a Scout and Cellar. This is their
nice
Can Sumoy. It's a rosé, and most rosés are sweet as hell. But I tell you what, man, you said you've been drinking some of the Scout and Cellar. You know, having the organic stuff, man. I mean, you don't wake up hungover. It don't have all that damn sugar in it. You know, that's why I like the Scout and Cellar stuff.
All right, cheers. That's what everybody.
Cheers. There it is. Cheers. All right, everybody. So we are live with Scott Snipas, a good buddy of mine from college, Appalachian State University. He got out in, how long did it take you to graduate with your undergrad?
Only 5 years.
All right, so I was 8. I think most people already. I had a lot of fun. You did too in your 5. I just extended it.
I did. Yep.
We call them, we call them 4-year people quitters, always. So, App State, did you get? Tell everybody who you are, where you work, that kind of stuff.
So should I start from the beginning? I was born in Queens, New York.
What do you do? We'll get to that in a minute.
Then,
right now, currently,
I'm a research coordinator or laboratory coordinator in a lab out here in California, San Diego. Guy Salveson's lab, to be specific, at the Sanford Burnham Previs Medical Discovery Institute. Back when I moved out here in 1996, it was known as the La Jolla Cancer Research Foundation. But we've gone through several iterations of the name change, and now that's where I'm at.
So what made it? What's all the name change? I mean, did someone else buy it, or is it privately owned? I mean, explain that.
So philanthropists give money to the institute, and if you gave a certain amount, they changed your name. So it started out as La Jolla Cancer Research Foundation. Malin Burnham, he made his money in real estate. Chipped in some money, and we changed the name from La Jolla Cancer Research Foundation to the Burnham Institute. And then nobody knew what the Burnham Institute did, so then we changed it again to the Burnham Institute for Medical Research. And then another couple of guys came in and they said, "Hey, man, we want our name associated with this group," because we're basic scientists, and we convinced them that we were doing a good job, and they have a lot of money, and so they're what? How does it say that?
Philanthropist. Philanthropic.
Yeah, no, they're philanthropic. Whatever.
Philanthropic.
They gave us a lot of money. Yes, they gave us the money. And
we got the money, damn it.
First, I swear to God. Yeah. So then they changed the name. So now it's Denny Sanford, Burnham, and then Previs, Conrad
not
Previs.
To be, I guess he's not related to Fred Sanford, right? Or Lamont?
Nope. I mean, you probably heard of Sanford Medical. He's big in Texas too. Has a couple of hospitals. I mean, he's big everywhere. Sanford and Conrad Previs, same thing. They got lots of money, so they're doing the Warren Buffett thing, trying to give away stuff.
Yeah, tax breaks maybe or whatever, but more than anything,
exactly,
helping you guys continue on with your research. So from App State, where you and I met and partied probably too hard, which obviously you didn't kill enough brain cells, you could continue on.
Oh, who knows?
I said you didn't kill enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's because I was only there for 4 years.
Yeah.
5 years.
5
years. Yeah.
I was only there for 5 years.
5 years.
And you went from there, did you go get your master's?
No, I did not. So I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life after I graduated. I just was happy that I graduated. And I moved back home, back to Burlington, North Carolina, and lined up a couple of job interviews, and lined up a job interview at Duke University for a photography position. And while I was there, when I went to interview for that photography position, the guy that was hiring me for the photography position said, "Hey, there's a principal investigator that's looking for a new lab manager, if you want to go down and talk to him." And since I had my suit on and I was ready to go for an interview, I was like, sure, why not? So I walked down to his office, and that's where it started with the biology part, because I was a biology major and a photography minor.
Yes, I remember some of the photography pics. The one with, what was the snake's name? Rosie?
I still have that one in my bathroom, man. As your fender, the Strat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
With Rosie wrapped all around it. And I'm scared to damn death of snakes. God. I think I remember one time in your apartment when we were having a good time, probably a little bit too good time. I held Rosie for like 20 minutes and spoke to her. She and I had a heart to heart.
Well, she made the flight over here with us from North Carolina to San Diego to California by smuggling them on the plane. So that was probably the first. I smuggled 2 snakes onto the plane to fly out here without telling anybody. But that was back before, all of the so I just put them in my pocket and walked through the scanner, and because they're bone and flesh, they're not going to set off a metal detector. And then when I passed through security, I picked them out of the bag that I had them in, put them in my overhead, stuck them up on the overhead compartment, and then we flew over to San Diego. And that's how I transported my snakes over. Probably get some kind of I'll probably get in trouble for that, but that was freaking 20 years ago.
Yeah, you're like, listen, guys, I didn't know.
Right.
So you're the reason.
I mean, they would take the snakes. They would take the snakes over, but we'd have to pay. And we'd have to.
Keeps freezing up.
We'd have to wait until the temperature. Yeah. So that was it. That was why we smuggled them on, or I smuggled them on. I can't blame my wife for that one.
So your wife's not a. So you're the reason for the movie Snakes on a Plane?
I would think so, yeah. Nobody knew about it though before, but I was the real life Snakes on a Plane. It was
but you went out to LA or San Diego and then told somebody about it, and they put a fucking movie about it. That's fantastic.
I haven't seen the movie. I'm sure it was
I haven't either.
Hopefully it's better than what happened on our plane. Nothing. Yeah. We flew over here to San Diego, got off the plane, took my snakes with me. That was it.
So you were working for Duke.
Ball pythons.
You were working for Duke. Well, whatever happened to Rosie? Let me ask you this. Wait a minute. What happened to your pythons?
So I had two ball pythons, or I had one and my wife had one, and brought them back. We're both over from North Carolina, and Rosie passed away probably about 7 years, but I had no idea how old the snake is. I don't really know how old snakes live. But the other one, Tracy's snake, is still kicking and doing fine. We've had her probably 2 years in North Carolina, and then the 24 years that we've been out here. So she's at least 27 years old.
So you still have Tracy's. Wow.
Yep. But I don't know if you remember, I didn't know what I was doing in college. So I burnt the hell out of that snake, Rosie, the first one, because I had to keep them warm. Appalachian states get pretty freaking cold at night. So I had a heating pad in there, but I had the heating pad in the cage, and it went up underneath the heating pad and burnt the skin on the back of the snake. So that was on me.
Wow. So she was, I guess, just trying to get out there to get warm, and it burned her.
Yeah. Then I learned you put the heating pad underneath. Oh yeah. Okay. That's one of those college experiences that you have to learn, I guess. Poor pets, they have to suffer.
So then, all right. So then you run over to Duke. How long did you work at Duke?
So I worked at Duke for 5 years and still didn't know what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to be a pharmacist because my brother was a pharmacist, and just didn't go that way. I started taking my grades weren't all that hot at App, so I had to take classes at Chapel Hill to pull my grade point average up in order to get into the School of Pharmacy there, and it was a lot of work. So it takes a lot of work to get into pharmacy school. It's not easy to get into, and I'm just not that kind of guy, I guess. I was already making money and, having fun doing the job that I was doing. So there was no reason for me to go and count pills or get educated so I could count pills when I could do. So I felt I could do so much more in the position I was already in, the position I got at Duke. So that's how that story goes.
So what got you to San Diego?
So just the policies at Duke, my boss wasn't too keen on. He didn't feel that he had enough control. There was a chairman of the department was the head, and then it trickled down from the chairman and all that kind of fun stuff. Is this okay, Rusty? Are you hearing me all right? Because I'm
hearing you fine.
Yeah. Right. And so he decided he was going to start looking for other positions, and the La Jolla Cancer Research Foundation offered him one in San Diego. And so he offered, I'd never been to California. So he offered to fly me and Tracy out here in December. And we came and looked, and we were like, what, 72 degrees out here in December? This is pretty nice. We can try, and sunny, and we can try this for a while. And if we don't like it, we can always go back and go back to North Carolina and where our roots are. But that never happened.
Well,
we like San Diego.
You remember that time? I went out there. I don't know if it was the first time. I don't know if it was for your wedding. I think the first time I went out there was for your damn wedding. And
Could be.
My dumb ass
in 2001.
Yeah, I think. I mean, yeah. I think because my dumb ass had been watching TV and shit, and all I thought was sunny, hot, warm California, right? And what's interesting is if you actually watch the movies and you watch the TVs and shit, everybody's got on long pants and a little jacket and shit like that. But you just don't think about that. And you're here getting your ass beat with the heat. And we flew out there and all I brought was some damn shorts and a t-shirt.
That's what
I got out there, dude. I was broke as hell. A fucking musician working in a damn, I think by then I had gotten a job. I think by then I'd actually gotten a job. Making some decent money, but still didn't have hardly any money, and got out there, man. And what it got nighttime, man, it's fucking cold, dude. It's like it gets down there, in the Pacific Ocean. I guess that cool air from the Pacific and you being right there on it gets cool in the evenings. So to me, it was like, that is not sunny, warm California. Fuck this, but it's gorgeous out there.
Well, I mean, if you want sunny, warm California, just head east, man. If you drive an hour, I mean, it's 70 now here. It's in the 70s. It'll probably drop down in the 50s tonight, high 50s. But if you drive out to the desert, they're having record temperatures of 110, and that's only like an hour and a half away. So
yeah, we went. How far is Temecula from you? Because remember, Julie and I went out there. And
Temecula is a little north and east, so yeah, it gets warmer. It's probably about 40 minutes from where we are in San Diego, but it's north and east, so it gets warm. It gets warm in Temecula as well. Was it warm in Temecula when you were there? I mean, it's not going to be out in North Carolina. It doesn't. I mean, there's no humidity.
No. Yeah, there's no humidity, but still, I mean, the first time I went to Northern California, we went down and I was like, you know what, I'm going to, I wanted to go get a convertible and drive down the one. And so I flew into San Francisco and jumped into a convertible. And this was August and it was fucking freezing, man. I mean, it was like cold as shit. And so we took off down the one, drove down into, I guess, was it Carmel by the Sea? What's the other place? Yep. Monterey. Went to Monterey.
Monterey. Yeah.
Yep. And then just kept on going, and it's damn gorgeous. There's no question there. One of the coolest places I ever went to eat was Nepenthe, which is right up there, just overlooking the cliffs of the Pacific Ocean. It's gorgeous.
Monterey.
But we were coming back. And it was freezing, so but I had to have that damn top down, man. I was like, I'm gonna drive, I've never had a convertible. I'm driving.
Turn the heat on.
So turn the heat on, have a jacket on and shit. And I'm driving, and then we're gonna head over to Napa, right? So we took off east, man, went over one hill, and it was like 100. Immediately. I'm sweating bullets, had to pull over, run the top up. Turn the fucking air conditioning on. Well, the same thing happened to me and Jules. We went to see you and we wanted to take off and go up the one. So we were hanging out with you and Al, and we got a convertible and took off up the one then. And we went up to Moore Park, hung out up there, came back down and was, went through, what's the place where Malibu, came through Malibu. And then again, went through LA. Right before you took off over to Temecula and got over that hill and had the top down, had to put the top back up and turn the fucking air conditioning on again because so it's like
roasting.
So, and it's funny, man, because so many people have their opinions about California that have never gone, and it's like, you got to go, man. I hear people like, I'll never go to California for whatever reason or another, and I'm like, man, you're crazy. That place is gorgeous. It's worth every second. I mean,
it's a long state. It spans freaking north to south, pretty much the whole fucking United States.
Damn country. So,
yeah. If you don't want to be in the city.
Let's see, the first time, I think both times I went over there, I went over to Catalina Island. I think I took a little spin over from San Diego over to Catalina.
Long Beach.
Yeah. How is Catalina still cool, or what's going on over there?
I haven't been in a while, but as far as I know, everything is still cool. I mean, there's no cars over there anyway, and I mean, I think I can't really comment on that, Rusty. I don't know if it's open or not. I mean, the ferry rides over there.
They only allowed like 300 cars or something like that, so people's cars would be
and you had to be a resident. Yeah, you had to be a resident. Yeah.
Otherwise, you rode around in golf carts.
Yep.
And then we multiple times. Let's see.
I've done some of my best diving in off of Catalina. It's in California. The best diving I've ever done is off of Catalina. Yes.
Where all have you dived?
All over the place. I mean, in California. I'm just saying in California. It's not better than Fiji. It's not better than Tahiti. It's not better than Honduras. It's not better than Cozumel. I'm just saying California diving is cold, number one, and usually Viz is pretty crappy. And what else? It's cold, Viz is bad, and there's a lot of surge. So you're all over the place. Yeah. So, but off of Catalina, we found this one point we took kayaks to, and it was incredible, man. We dropped in at least 100-foot Viz. And it was amazing. Saw big, huge sea fans. It was just incredible on a wall. And you just don't normally see that kind of stuff, especially diving in San Diego. San Diego, I mean, you see some cool stuff, but it's usually just brown rock. And it's not like tropical waters. It's not like going to the Florida Keys.
So have you dived? Have you dived off the or is it dove? But either way, have you done it off of North Carolina coast at all?
I have not. So my brother and I, my brother's from New York, and I was out here, and we went to go back to see my parents, and we were going to have a vacation out on the coast of North Carolina. And we were like, all right, well, we were both divers, and let's go on one of the wreck dives. Let's go do a wreck dive off the coast of Carolina. And we get there, and like an hour and a half later, they're like, oh, you guys need to evacuate. The hurricane's coming. So we're like, okay. End the vacation, turned around and came back at it. And so, no, I have never, ever dove off the North Carolina coast. When I got certified at Appalachian, that was one of my PEs. And
I tried to do that, and my dad blackballed me on two things. One was diving, and the other was a Harley. But I was going to sign up for the PE to get certified, and obviously, I think
you got a Harley.
Well, yeah, but he's dead now.
I know. I did. I told my mom the same thing. Well, not scuba diving. She wasn't the motorcycle thing. That was what is that? Oh, yeah, I just borrowed it from a friend.
But nothing to it.
It's Ron's. You remember Ron? Yeah, he just let me borrow it for a while.
Yeah,
actually, ended up selling it to me. So yeah.
Well, my dad, two things he did. So one was I wanted to go scuba diving. I think it was $350 extra or something like that. To add it on your tuition or some shit. And so I called him. I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this." And he was like, "No, you're not." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And so he went off on this whole shark deal. That was just his thing. And so I was like, "Well, man, I'll just pay for it myself." And he was like, "Well, if you can afford to pay for this class, and you can afford to pay for your fucking college, your rent."
Okay.
So I was like,
card, man, there's nothing you do about that, right?
Yeah. All right, Dad, you won. And before that, I got my first job with Garen. Me and Garen were washing dishes at this little damn place on King Street. It's gone now, but anyway, they didn't have a dishwasher during the day, right? So they had so many plates that they could handle their lunch rush, with all the plates that they had, and they would just pile them fuckers. And then we would hop our ass in there at like 3:30 or 4, and it was like, clean all them dishes before dinner, Fuck. And so you leave there with suds and just wet. That was like my first restaurant. It sucked. but I was making a little money. And so I called my dad's best friend on the Harley shop. And excuse me if you hear somebody mowing, I'm outside, but he was like, he goes, I said, yeah, man, I got some money. And I want to put some money down on a bike. And back then, Jack would get a Harley that was wrecked and then redo it and put like an S&S motor in it or whatever. And, you know, you probably have about 7,000 in it, 7,500, and it could sell it for damn near double, you know, so you'd have a nice bike. And because of it was me and it was my dad, he was going to give it to me for what he had in it, you know, whatever it was that I wanted to build. But he called my dad and he said, you know, Rusty's calling me about a Harley. And my dad was like, called me up and said, son, if you can afford a Harley, you can afford college and blah, blah, blah. So then after my 5th year of college, I said, yo, Dad, man, I'm sorry, I'm not going to graduate, you know. he said, yeah, well, I'm not giving you any more money. And I was like, cool, I appreciate everything you did. So I called Fat Jack. We called him Fat Jack. So I called Fat Jack and I said, hey, man, I'm no longer under my dad's wing and I'm full-time job and I'm ready to pay for a Harley. So he called my dad again, right? And my dad, well, I knew he had talked to my dad because he called me back and he said, quote from your dad was, you tell that little son of a bitch that I said, until he comes home with a piece of paper that says he's trainable, he doesn't get shit. You know, so he blackballed me again. Well, I finally graduated after 8 years and stayed up there another year and moved down here. And I bought a fucking house, like you know, everything. And I called Jack and I said, Fat Jack, I said, I'm a grown ass fucking man. Don't you call my daddy again. I want a damn Harley. So he fucking calls my dad.
Dad, right, of course.
I mean, I'm like, dude. So my dad calls me and goes, all right, if you're going to build one, we're going to build it my way. We're going to do a rigid frame. And I was like, I don't want a rigid frame, dude. You know, one with no shocks. And I was like, this ain't the 60s, bro. I want to fight. My dad was like, them damn Cadillacs, you know, you'll fall asleep and die on one of them damn things. And so I got pissed at everybody. And I was like, fuck all y'all. And I went and bought a boat.
There you go.
And I was like, I was like, buy on my own. But I'll tell you, man, scuba diving is the bucket list. So it's something I want to do bad. Jules won't do it with me, but I want to do it bad, bro.
I mean, I've taken my kids with me before.
You would do scuba dive. So Jules says she'll scuba dive. Hold on, she's in now. So what do we got to do? We got to get certified here. And then we'll have to figure out a way to go with you.
I'm telling you, it's rough out here to dive. We can go to Catalina.
No, I said go with you. That means I'll let you pay for my trip down to Tahiti. Where'd you name all those places?
Fiji or Honduras or
all these damn
Cozumel or.
But this will be on you, right? Since you're the mad scientist making all that money.
Nope. Happy scientist.
Happy scientist. So anyway,
I don't want to be a mad scientist. I'm not mad all the time.
No, you're not. You're actually. I'm probably much more angry for multiple reasons. But anyway, so moved out there to Southern Cal. Obviously, you said you loved it, and then immediately you started working in the lab.
Yes, we just picked a lab up from Duke. Same principal investigator, Guy Salveson. He's still my boss, always will be my boss. And we just started back up just like we did when we were at Duke, just with different personnel. Well, me and him, and then we brought in some more people when we got out of here. And so how many are there now? There was a grad student came on. There's just 3. There's a guy is the principal investigator. He's the brains of the operation. Then they have me. This is the bronze of the operation and do all the grunt work. And then there's a grad student. And then that's it. That's all that's in our lab for the time being.
And Tracy is a biologist as well.
Yes, she is. And she works for Pfizer.
Okay.
So we're on the I'm on the academic side, and she's on the industry side.
So you have spent since you say 1995?
1991. I started in 1991. That's when I started working at Duke. Graduated in 1991, went to, yeah.
And so tell us what you do, though, you know, the gist. I mean, you said I mostly talk to people about protease and whatnot, so we're not going there. We're not talking to scientists, but tell us what you do. What is your job?
So, I mean, I guess let me turn this around and I'll ask you this question. You know me better than most people, I mean, would know a scientist, right? So you know me as a scientist. If you were to say to somebody, I know somebody that, a friend of mine that's a cancer research scientist, what would they picture? What comes to their mind as a research scientist or a cancer research scientist, if you want to pinhole me into just cancer research? So when you tell your friends that you have somebody that you know that's a cancer research scientist, they say, well, what does he dress, or how does he dress, or what does he look like, or is he cool, or is he...
They don't tell me that. They all tell me I'm full of shit because everybody wants to argue the medical world. They're like, you don't know a scientist, you know? And I'm like, no, I fucking do. I really do. But no, I tell people, man, that I've got one of my best friends has dedicated his life to researching how to fight cancer. You know, is that solid?
Well, I mean, cancer or whatever. So that's where like I said, I don't want to get pigeonholed into, you're just a cancer researcher. That's why we moved from La Jolla Cancer Research Foundation. We took that out of our name because we're so much more than just cancer research. We do research other things besides other diseases besides cancer. So,
but was the cancer? It started out as cancer. So would you say you spent the majority of your time researching cancer?
I would say yes. The majority of our so again, here we go. So if I were to think of a cancer biologist, I would think, well, somebody is working with these little tumors and putting little tumors on the backs of mice and studying little tumors and all that kind of stuff. Or
we don't know what the fuck y'all do. So tell us.
Exactly. So that's not what I do. I don't do that. I don't put little tumors on the backs of mice, but some cancer biologists do that kind of stuff. Our lab does not. Guy's lab does not, and we're pro. I mean, we like animals. We don't like to hurt animals, except for when it happens in college. But for the most part, we don't use. I mean, it's expensive, number one, to have mice models, and number two, mice are these little bitty rodents that have tails on. They don't look much like a human. So we decide we're just going to work on the proteins and the enzymes that are associated with human beings. And we've, wandered that path to, we do have mice proteins, and we do have dog proteins and, different stuff like that. But in our lab, we're a biochemistry lab, and all our little solutions it's boring, man. It's really boring to people that don't get excited about seeing a black band or a blue band on a gel, or, it's nothing. Oh my God, that's the greatest. Look at it. In our lab, we don't see that. I mean, we get excited when a band goes away or a band shifts. Or
hold on, you gotta explain. Now, see, you got to tell us what a band is now.
Okay, so
you're talking back to as a communications guy, you skipped about 18 years of research in college to my listeners. You're like a band. We're all like a band, like fucking Satchelfoot or a band on here.
Yeah. Exactly. So you have to come that's one of the hardest things to learn as a scientist is the lingo.
Yes.
You have to, and that's with any profession. You have to know what what a CEO and a COO and a CFO and all this stuff. And we have to learn all this stuff for science, and same kind of thing. So how can I put this? The stuff that we work on, you don't see. You don't get, you can't see what the inside of a cell looks like. So all our solutions are clear, not much going on as far as color or, they're usually in a buffer that's the same, or buffer being a solution that's the same as what we would have in our bodies. So we're just trying to mimic, but we don't actually do it in vivo. We do it in vivo means in a living cell, and in vitro means on a bench in a test tube. So we do everything in vitro.
So basically vivo. What you're doing
do a little bit in vivo.
So in layman's terms, you're just dealing with cells.
Mm-hmm.
There's no live animal, but there's live cells.
With the proteins inside the cell.
Okay.
So, you have, if you want a cell to do something, something has to happen in order for the cells to talk, to react. And these are done with proteins. There's a protein in the cell that interacts with this thing, and boom, it goes and does something. Or this protein comes and attaches to the cell surface, gets transmitted, and boom, something else happens. So it's these boom, what happens, these pathways, we call them pathways, that we try to dissect. So we try to find out what happens down the line. And we do this by try to either visualize it by a band. It's like a little sliver on a gel, which is like it's a picture where the protein migrates down this thing, and it stops at the size that you expect this protein to be. And if it gets cut, it gets shorter. If it gets modified in some other way, it can get larger. So we get excited about seeing the difference and changes of these proteins on a gel. That's what a band is.
You would say then, I think in layman's terms, what cancer is a continuous growing cell, a cell that is supposed to have stopped but continued to grow and mutate. Is that layman's term correct?
So that's how that is correct. That is exactly what's going on. So that's how we got into the field of apoptosis. Which apoptosis is just Latin for cell death, or Greek for cell death. And so back when I started, and this was at Duke, this was the research that we started at Duke. That's what progressed us over to San Diego, was what causes a cell to die. So cells that don't die are cancers. They don't get cleared by the body. They hang around, and then you get solid tumors because the cells just don't go away. They don't get cleared like they normally would during everyday life. They just don't disappear. And so when a cancer or when a cell doesn't die, it stays there and starts making a tumor or causing bad things if it doesn't get cleared. And so we figured out what proteins have to get turned on and turned off in order for that to happen.
So you're, because at the end of the day, you're trying to kill the cell.
Yes, we want to kill the cancer cell, but we don't want to kill a healthy cell.
Right.
That's the whole, that's the division between good and bad. You want to make sure you kill the healthy, or kill the cancer cell and not kill the healthy cells. And we don't do that.
Which in lies the issue with cancer is, per se, is that we haven't figured that out. We have, but so radiation, chemo, yeah. But I think the problem with chemo is it kills a lot of healthy cells as well.
Yes. So you want to try to target.
Right.
Yeah, you you want a targeted therapy so you don't kill the healthy cells and you only kill the bad cells. We'll call
Is
them
radiation a more targeted therapy?
Yes, because they can zone in onto the tumor or whatever they're going for and hit it with a radiation instead of.
So you said to me one time,
chemo is they
the whole
treat
body.
the whole body. Yeah. But anything.
What makes chemo work? Just that it's just fucking shit up. I mean, it's fucking everything up bad, but it's also fucking everything up good, right?
It is. They use chemo for different types of cancer, right? So you have, I don't know, there's probably at least 100 different types of cancer. So when somebody says, "Can you have a cure for cancer?" It's like, well, which one you want me to have a cure for? All at once? No, that's a long ways away from where we are now. A certain type, yeah, we have a better chance. You have a better chance at solid tumors because you can pull them out. You can and just remove the cancerous cells as long as they haven't metastasized to someplace else. You're good to go.
Metastasize means spread. Obviously.
Yep.
So, and I think you told me that a long time ago. A friend of mine got cancer and he passed away. And I said, what's the best way to deal with this? And you said, cut it out. Still to this day, the best way to do it is get it out, right?
Yep. But you can't do that with a tumor or a cancer that's not solid. I mean, you can take off your nut. So if you have testicular cancer, you can and get rid of it.
And what if there's brain tumors you can get,
Well, yeah, exactly. Again, it depends on what organ it's attached to, how big it is. So the best thing is early detection. So we've cut down on our death rates with cancer because of early detection. So if you can get to it early, hit it hard while you're still healthy and it hasn't messed you up, then you're good. You have a much better chance if it's early detection, you can remove it and you're a healthy individual.
To be able to get it out of there.
Yep. And then, it just escalates from there. They try to start you out low and then they'll just, however aggressive the cancer is, they'll step you up with different treatments based on that. And that's the way that works.
I think, and then, a friend of mine ended up with renal cell carcinoma, and that was a bunch of little tumors all over the place. And that's something that there is no cure for. And basically, once you get renal cell, you got this many months and that's it.
You're done. Yeah. And that's unfortunate. Nothing you can do because you have little bitty tumors all over the place, and you take one out, you're just going to get another one back. And you have to, the pros and cons, how sick do I want to be? Do I want to live my life sick for the rest of my life? If I'm dying of cancer, that's your call. You have to make that decision. And that's why people are like, oh, I'm done. I don't want to do chemo anymore. I'm worn out. I've done it for 3 years. It doesn't seem to be helping. I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore. And you can understand that. You get sick every time.
But yeah. So it's almost, in their mindset, it's like, I'm just going to go ahead and let this thing run its course. That's what I have to do. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but yep. Or I'm sick every time I get the treatments. You might not be sick from the cancer. You might not have any kind of symptoms from a cancer growing, and that's what happens most of the time. You're like, oh crap. You go in for a normal chest scan, and they're like, oh, ooh. You got something. Yeah.
Yeah, you got something, and you never even knew about it. And you're like, oh, okay. I didn't know I had that. Let's take care of it. Now, hopefully it's at an early stage, is all I can say. That's why us 50-year-olds go in and get the old camera up.
Yeah. Well, and it's a tough subject because so many people have had people pass away from cancer, but at the end of the day, what you're saying is exactly, my dad used to say, I don't want to go find out because once you find out, you die. And it's like, well, that's sort of how it works, Dad.
Well, that's right.
It's like you found out that you had it. Of course, you're going to die. But I think what you're trying to say is that the question is, if you were to have renal cell carcinoma, for instance, let's just say we know there's no cure. So it's like, you got 18 months to live, let's just say. Yep. And it's like, all right, so you can live, 12 of these healthy and fine, or you can take these 18 months and try to prolong it for another 4, but you're going to be sick for the 18.
Right. Yeah.
And that's just where it is.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people decide, well, I've suffered enough. I tried. And, you get all the family issues too. Excuse me. The family issues too, where,
trying to stay alive as long as you can.
I want to say, yeah, exactly. Well, I don't see why he doesn't do it. But I mean, it's up to you. You're the individual. It's like, it's my time. I tried. Unless there's some kind of new therapy that I know works, that's not going to make me as sick, I'll try that. That's why a lot of people try at the very end. They try anything. Can you get me some CBD? Can you get me this? Whatever. They'll take anything at the end, as long as they're not as sick as they were on chemo.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I mean, we know people that have. So it's funny. I see people say, there's more money in the treatment of cancer than there is the cure of cancer, is what a lot of people say, and or a lot of people think.
I have to agree with I would have to agree with that.
Okay, all right, then give us that one.
So, I mean, if you're okay, I got high blood pressure, and I've got high cholesterol, and it's genetic. There's nothing, the doctor's like, try this, try that, eat this, eat that. And because I didn't want to go on chemo, which is pretty much, it's a chemical that's put in the body. It doesn't make you sick, because doesn't have to kill things. It just has to lower your numbers of cholesterol and high blood pressure. So I was very hesitant to take something like that. And
is that like a Lipitor or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's exactly what it is, and I get that free thanks to Pfizer.
Yeah, for Pfizer. Yeah. So
family though, it works for Pfizer, so I get their drugs for free.
So what you're saying is, you've got high blood pressure. Are you saying this about yourself?
Yeah. So, do you want to take the drug prophylactically, or before you die of a heart attack, or are you gonna, or not die? Let's not go that far. Have a heart attack. Let's just say you're gonna have a heart attack. Eventually, you're gonna have a heart attack, and then they're gonna put you on that medication anyway. So, do you want to prolong your heart attack, or if this blood pressure medication reduces your risk for stroke, reduces your risk for heart attacks, are you going to take it, or are you not? And I've made the decision that, okay, I'm going to take it. And I'm taking it now. I haven't had a heart attack, so I'm trying to prevent having a heart attack. So people are making money up until the time that I have a heart attack, right? So
they're prolonging your heart attack, basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you mentioned something to me a long time ago. You said,
but if I take it later, or the same thing with, okay, so now I have a cancer, let me take this drug. Do I take the drug and I cure the cancer? Then you don't sell the drug anymore. If I take the drug and it suppresses and I don't have to do anything, which most are. That's why everybody goes into remission or tries to go into remission, is because you've taken the drug and then they just keep testing you to make sure it hasn't come back again.
Well, I think where I'm going with this is this. It's almost a conspiracy theory type situation, in that people believe that there's a lot of people that believe there's a cure for cancer. And you've already said there's not going to be one pill.
I've heard the conspiracy, not from anybody that works in the field. I've never had anybody say, hey man, why are we doing this? Because there's already a cure. nobody, any of the meetings I've ever been to, that nobody says, hey, have you heard? But I've heard from other people that aren't in the field that there's that conspiracy theory that we're hiding it from somebody. They're hiding it from the general public. But
I always ask, who the fuck is it?
I have friends that die from cancer that I would love to give a magic pill to and say, hey man, I got this magic pill. Nobody else knows about it. So I'm going to give it to you or my family members or my loved ones.
That's what I use as an argument, as I was like, these guys have spent their damn lives trying to fight this shit. And you guys think, but I don't, it's ignorance. And I don't mean ignorance in a bad way, because ignorance just means you don't know. It doesn't mean you're stupid. Right. It just means you have.
Well, that's what I like about you, Rusty. When we have a conversation, you always want to learn something.
Yeah.
And so you're learning it from me. You're just getting my opinion, but at least you understand. I'm not coming at you like, no, this is the way it is. And I don't want you to think your way. I want you to think my way. I don't do it that way. You come up with your opinions based on whatever I tell you. And you seem to be genuinely interested in what I have to say.
Well, yeah, always. I mean, because you hear so many. Well, it just doesn't seem, when someone looks at me and says they have a cure, I'm like, well, who the fuck is they? Right. I'm like, is they the United States?
I don't have that. Right.
Yeah. Is they Germany?
Right.
Who is they? Who's hiding this? And the one person that came up with that cure, who killed him? Right. To shut them up, and that person that came up with that cure, which we're going to get into this in a minute, had to have spoken to someone like Scott, because you guys collaborate, right? So, right. And I think that, everybody thinks that it's a damn conspiracy, but the bottom line is cancer's a bitch to fight. I mean, it's because number one, there's 100 of them, like you said. Right.
Yeah. Anything with the human body is a bitch to fight. It's not like you can go out to your car and go, well, I need a new fuel pump. And you just pull out a new fuel pump. Yeah. And replace it. You just can't do that with the human body.
But wait a minute, hold on. Even that's a bitch to fight, because we know exactly how a combustible motor runs. In fact, that was my pastime and all through high school, was racing cars and making shit faster. We know exactly how they run. We know exactly how they're built precisely. There's nothing different. We know everything that makes that thing run, and you take it to your mechanic with it making a certain noise, and they're like, it's going to be a minute, or you call your mechanic and go, hey, it's going, and they're like, oh, I know exactly what that is. The point being is we know exactly how that shit works, because we created it, and it still takes time to diagnose. Right. The human body, we didn't create the damn thing.
No, we don't have a little plug to plug in and tell us a diagnostic code, blink 5 times for, high blood pressure, 4 times for
a bad knee,
hemorrhoids or whatever. Yeah. Right, exactly. It'd be great.
It's hard.
I'm all for that, man.
It's hard for, the person. Hold on, my air conditioner just kicked on, so I'm gonna try to shut this damn thing down. I like sitting outside during this, but it ultimately there's noises. I live out in the country, and one time I was doing this and somebody was shooting, and it was like pop 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 pop, and somebody was like, oh, guns. I was like, well, yeah, we're in the country, but so I guess. In going back to this, you guys are over there fighting. Well, and we will not get political here, and I'm not going to get political, but I will say I wanted to bring this up. A political candidate made a statement that said, if you elect me, we will cure cancer in 8 years. And I remember hitting you up immediately going, what the hell is he talking about? And you said, well, it's kind of by default, because we're about to have maybe either cures or a solid medication to keep you living for life with this, for maybe 8 of them. So you want to touch on that for a second?
So after you asked me this question,
Now wait a minute. I don't want to touch on the political shit. I want to touch on your
no. I'm going to the So and actually, the first thing that popped up when I did my little Google search or whatever was the rate of cancer deaths dropped from 1991 to now by like 27%. In 1991, that's when I started. So there you go.
So it's all on you.
I'm owning that. 1991 to present time.
You are responsible for 27%.
Exactly.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So yes, cancer deaths are down, and that's due to early detection, our treatments, and getting it the hell out of you.
Right.
Surgery techniques.
So where are we at in the coming years, though? I mean, I think you said to me that there's a few, and I've been reading that there's some, we got a few of these that are going to go away, or not go away, but
not go away. Not go. I mean, yeah, they're not going to go away. There's going to be drugs for these different types of cancer, and then there's going to be cocktails of different drugs to take for different things, and then there's going to be personalized medicine where we can see how your body reacts towards this medication versus somebody else that takes the medication, because your body handles chemicals in a different way.
Right.
I mean, I get a hangover. My brother never gets a hangover. We drink the same amount. I get hungover. He doesn't. What the hell?
Well, it's because he drinks more than you. I'm never proud. My dad said, I'm never going to damn hangover. And I was like, I don't know if that's something to be proud of, but it just means you're used to it.
He's never gotten sick. Never gotten sick. Have you ever gotten sick from drinking?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I thought everybody did. He's like, no, I've never thrown up. Like, what? So I need to study that guy.
Yeah.
Man, he's related to me. So, yeah.
But what?
So everybody's different is what I'm trying to say.
Well, let me ask you this. Are there some cancers that are out there right now that we're making some major strides in?
Blood cancers. Yeah.
And those were taking people out pretty heavy.
Yes. So, the new antibody therapies and stuff like that, we can target the bad cells with the antibodies, and blood cancers are gonna, they're on the decrease as well. And there's probably the ones that are getting hit the fastest.
I've read some lung cancer stuff. There's some things coming out for
lung cancer is one of the major reasons why the decline. Less people are smoking.
Oh, so it's that more so than it is people doing it.
Yep.
Or it's that more than it is
drugs.
Any kind of a pure drug.
Yeah, exactly. So that skews. I mean, again, that's another one of those things like, okay, lung cancer is going down. We must be doing something right. We're not really doing anything right. We've changed our lifestyle. And I mean, that's a big part of the cancer thing too. Changing lifestyle.
So if that's the case, then if it's just about that, then what the hell?
It's not just about that.
What do we need your ass for? You're not doing anything.
It's not just about that. It's not just about that. Let me emphasize that.
I got you.
I can't convince everybody to stop smoking, to start eating healthy, or whatever. And even that, you're still gonna have people dying of cancer.
Well, we live longer, right? I mean, I think so. Our friend Gant, if you remember Gant, we live a lot longer. And Gant's a biologist, and he's got his doctorate. I mean, he might have his master's in biology, but anyways, he's got his doctorate. But he mentioned to me one time, he was like, listen, man, when you live this long, you got to die of something, right? So something is going to, your body's breaking down. It's the bottom line at the end of the day. And how many years ago was it that 47 people were dying, right? And now we're in our 90s, on the regular, pretty much.
Yep.
Guns. So if you made major strides though, for real though, on this, I mean,
Yes.
drug wise or,
Yes.
or are the major strides basically that you now know how to tell us to quit doing stupid shit? I mean, because
No,
we all know that stupid
no,
shit.
we've made medications that are, they're actually doing what they're supposed to do.
Keeping people out, and keeping people
Yeah.
alive with it.
Yep.
So, in your lab, is there anything that you can talk about that you guys have done in your lab that was like that you were able to share with other labs? Because you talk about collaborating.
So when you had Rob on, I was asking him how he gets his information out to people, and it's the same thing. We publish. So we publish our work in scientific journals. So you guys, anybody can read it and make their own conclusions, start their own studies, do what they want with it. And we collaborate with people all over the place. I mean, we just had a paper published this week in Nature Communications with a group from Colombia. We got big into collaborations with this guy, Polish scientist, Marcin Drog. He's a chemist in Poland, and we collaborate with him all the time. And in our own institute, we're collaborating all the time.
What does that look like, though? What does that collaboration look like? So what do you
usually it's a sending of samples or a sending of data via email, or we have this protein, we're going to send it to you. You have this test, you're going to test it for us, stuff like that.
So
that's our collaborative environment. So
let's get to the elephant in the room that everybody right now is panicking about. And we talked about, so this is Drinks with an Entrepreneur. So let me take one step in this. You're working for a nonprofit that you derive your money on pure philanthropy or government grants, right?
That is correct.
And you've mentioned, and again, I'm trying not to get into the political world. However, if you're getting government grants, then particular administrations are going to give more money. Yes. I think from what we spoke about, it wasn't necessarily Republican, Democrat. It's more about what the fuck is going on. Meaning that if there's not a whole lot of shit happening in that world, they're going to cut your funding to a bit. Or if we're going through a massive crisis financially as a government. But if something like this, what we're seeing right now, comes up, it's like now scientists need some money to be able to figure this out and try to find this. There's a couple things I want to touch on. One is, it has nothing to do with Democrat, Republican, and in my mind. You could tell me wrong, but I don't think that's the case. And then two, there's a lot of people, again, that believe that there's data being manipulated so to get more government funding. And I think you and I talked about that, and you said, sure, that happens, but it's probably not as prevalent as people think. So you want to speak on that for a second?
So you
hear the guns? They're firing away, buddy. Second Amendment.
We don't have that here in California. If you hear that, then something bad's happening.
Yeah, here they're just
yeah,
target
it's just
practice.
the neighbors going at it, right? So, I mean, what was your question?
All right. Well, let's start with this. Let's just go straight up right here. You had mentioned to me before that you got more funding during certain times. So you've been doing this since 1991. All right. So that's George Sr., right? That's Clinton, that's W, and that's Obama, and that's Trump.
And Trump.
Right.
Yep.
And in no way am I trying to get political, but because you're getting government funding, I don't think we have a choice but to at least look into that,
right?
Right.
Yes.
So
Okay.
when
So
did you?
the government has
you,
a certain budget,
right?
right?
So when did you get the
No
most
matter
money?
who's in control. When did we get the most money? That must have been at Clinton.
Okay. And so since Clinton, so you got Bush, then Obama, and then Trump, right? And so the most was back here in Clinton. So at that point, we can gather that this isn't Republican Democrat. So why do you think you got the most money at Clinton? I mean, now let me say this: I've read where Clinton read a book and kind of he's the one that sort of started the national stockpile because he read about a virus. It was just a fictional book. Do you think that's why? Because he was like, wait a minute, we need to do it, or what do you think?
I mean, I'm hoping it's not up to just one person. So I can't say that,
Okay.
It's all his doing. Oh, I read a book and all of a sudden I want to give more. I want to give more money to the NIH. I mean, somebody needs to give that book to every president that comes along, right? But
why do you think you got more during the Clinton administration than now?
I can't answer that question. I don't know why that would be. It's probably because of budget cuts in other areas. That's just the way it works. If the government has a certain amount of money to deal with and we don't think we're going to get invaded, they can take some from the military, or they think we have enough ammunition or whatever it is, or whatever else the government is shuffling the money around for.
So the bottom line is this has, in your mind, it's got nothing to do with partisan bullshit. It's just simply what is on the precedence at the time.
Right. Okay. Yeah, we'll go with that. I don't want to start getting into the argument of whether or not it's Republican or Democrat. I mean,
and that's not what I want to do.
It might have something to do with it, but I'm sure it has something to do with it. But for me, yeah, I'm okay. Somebody's going to give me money. I'm happy. And we're going to keep writing grants no matter who's the president.
So you get your money through grants. So you write your grants, and I mean, I think that at the end of the day, like you said, it's a budget. There's a budget there.
Yeah.
It has absolutely zero to do. Well, maybe it's not zero to do, but I think that just gets overplayed. And I think at the end of the day, I think you mentioned something to me that was, you said right now we're probably going to get a higher end of a budget because of COVID, right? Or that's what you think.
I would think so. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens when the next round of funding comes through. But scientists are now the superheroes. We're the ones that are supposed to figure out what's causing the problems and get everybody back to work. So I would think, I mean, I can't give the book to Trump and let him know that, we're out here and we might need a little money for our research too. So, I mean, we're going to write grants no matter who's in office. It doesn't make a difference who's in office. And it's not, I don't write a grant and they go, oh, this is a grant, or I don't write any grants at all. So scratch that. My boss writes a grant. It doesn't go to Donald and he goes, no. It goes through the NIH and, a government funded agency. He doesn't have any decision on whether or not I get funded, which is a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep, and no matter who's in office, we're going to write grants and we're going to try to convince the people that give the money that our research is worth funding.
Yeah. And that's the thing is we get, so as a security professional, I deal with a lot of people who write grants. And so to all of you guys out there that don't understand what a grant is, basically the government says we have this much money that we're willing to dole out to whatever it could be. It could be security. So when 9/11 happened, obviously money got shifted to security versus money going to you. That had nothing to do with W. That just had to do with the times, right?
Well, anthrax. When everybody was getting the anthrax letters,
money
anthrax
was coming
research
to you.
Was, yep. If we worked on anthrax, and we did, there you go. You get more money because anthrax. But I mean, the percentage of people that got anthrax? No, not zero. I mean, nobody got anthrax.
But they needed to know what was up.
Right. They needed to know what was up, and the government thought at the time that we should fund anthrax research. And the same thing is going on now with the COVID. So the government thinks it's a good idea to fund labs that are actually working on a cure for COVID. So NIH funded institutes like we are have written grants and gotten money from the government because they've been studying COVID.
You said NIH multiple times, so let's tell everybody what an NIH.
National Institute of Health.
Okay, all right.
Cool. That's our government funding agency.
So that's the government funding agency for you guys. Yeah.
Yes.
So all right. Let's talk about COVID, man. I mean, have you shifted? So you talked earlier about you didn't want to be pigeonholed into cancer. That's just kind of what you were mainly doing, just because cancer is so big, right?
Right.
But COVID, have you shifted there?
Yes. I don't know who I'm answering to. My son's going out somewhere. I said,
you're like, boy, I'm talking to Rusty on Rusty Chats. Shut your mouth, boy. Shut your damn mouth. So now you guys.
He's going somewhere.
He's saying, kiss my ass. Does he have his license yet?
Where? Did he tell you?
He just yelled at me. Told me he's leaving, I think. And I was answering Rusty's question. Yes. And he's like, okay, well, that's good enough for me. Dad said yes.
He
Sounds
said,
like me
hell yeah.
or you.
He heard you talking. He said, I'm going to San Francisco. Yes.
I heard you say yes. Yeah. So
Dad said yes, Mom.
We have shifted to working a little bit with COVID. So with this collaboration thing that the lab has with the Polish lab that I was talking about, Marcin Drog's lab, he's a chemist, and we're more on the biological side. He's trying to promote himself as a cancer researcher, and so he's done a lot of stuff with the different proteases. We're a protease lab, so it's a protease in the virus that causes all of this stuff to happen. And if you inhibit this protease, the virus can't replicate anymore, and it's dead. So there you go. That's our, how proteases and the virus come together. Proteases are in everything. So that's why we can jump from cancer to viruses to hearts to lungs,
okay,
to whatever it is.
So what you're saying as a biological lab and dealing with proteases, for instance, you're saying that's in everything. If we can inhibit that in cancer, if we can inhibit that in a virus, or if we can inhibit that in anything, then we can eradicate or at least be able to treat. So that's why,
or slow down, or
right.
Yeah. So a lot of drug companies are trying to hit these proteases in the virus, because if you can inhibit the protease in the virus, it kills the virus. We're on our lab, Guy's lab, is more focused on what happens after you get the virus. So what your body's response is, because that's what actually kills you. I mean, people are dying because the SARS is a respiratory virus. Your immune system is attacking everything in your lungs, and that's why you die. You can't breathe. It fills up with fluid and kills you. It's not.
Explain that. Okay, explain that.
It's
without going into
your reaction.
I mean, what I'm saying is, explain that without scientific terms as best you can.
I'll try to do that. So you have a alien body coming to invade your cell, and that's the virus coming to attack your cell, and it's your body's response that causes the inflammation in your lungs and the immune response to this foreign body in your cells that causes you to have a lung that doesn't inflate like it should because it's full of fluids now. And it's not the virus that, the virus comes in and is multiplied so much and it invades you and everything gets replaced by a virus. It's the attack on the cell, and the response to that attack is what causes you to have the symptoms that you have. You know, the lung, why you have to go on the respirator, because your lungs started to fail.
So what you're saying is that the virus is not, well, obviously the virus is the problem, but it's how your body attacks.
The virus is just something that wants to have a home to live in. It doesn't, it just wants to replicate. It just wants to go in there and hang out and be fine. And so the less lethal it is, and if it just kills your cell, the cell gets eliminated from your body and the virus gets eliminated from your body. So it wants to not kill your cell. It wants to have a home to live in, not burn the home down, but it wants to, it's just a byproduct of what happens. It's not that it wants that. It's just your immune response. The virus is not out to kill you. It wants to just replicate. That's all it wants to do. And it's your body's response to that replication and that invasion that causes you to have the symptoms of the COVID disease.
So I think that's what a lot of people don't understand when they think about this stuff. When you look at homeopathic people, I've had a lot of them say, listen, it's when you get a sickness, and we're not talking about COVID now. If your nose is getting stopped up, it's trying to stop things from getting in. If you're catching a fever, it's trying to burn up what the hell
it's your
is
immune
the invader.
System. Yeah.
It's your immune system at work, which is good. Yeah. And the healthier your immune system, obviously the better, right? But what you're saying with COVID, though, is that, if it attacks it too heavily, then all of a sudden you end up with the inflammation in your lungs and the fluid in your lungs, which is what pneumonia, right? Am I wrong with this?
Yep.
It's ultimately what pneumonia is.
Yes, so same kind of thing. Yep.
Yeah, so what you're saying is the reaction from your body fighting this. Well, let me ask you this. So in layman terms,
and that's what we work on. We're working more on that end than trying to stop the virus. Our lab is working more towards the body's response. Can we do something about that? So can we stop that? Can we change that from one type of death to a different type of death that doesn't cause an immune response? So you don't have this big cytokine storm and you have the immune response. That's the way we're looking at it. So you can look at, if you want to stop the spread, you stop it from the source. So they should have closed down China.
Right.
That's where it started. Don't let somebody leave and take it someplace else. And in our society these days, you can jump on a plane and go anywhere you want
and fly anywhere.
And if the virus is contagious enough that you've infected somebody else, and that somebody else gets on a plane to another country, and that person gets on a plane to another country, that's how it just that's how it spread as it has. And so you can try to stop it, and that's shut down China. Stop it right away. But we didn't have enough information, as far as I can tell, or the Chinese government or however wasn't. They were afraid to. You have to. Oh my God, we're just going to start this epidemic, this worldwide panic. Well, yeah, we probably should have known that if you're going to start that. So
yeah,
we would want to know. So for the next one, so for COVID-3, we're hoping that we can contain it. So if we can contain it first, you don't spread it as much. And then the next thing is, well, can you kill it? So do you kill a virus or do you treat the symptoms? And so we're more on the treat the symptoms kind of end instead of, and that's why one of the drugs is a boost of immune. It's an immune booster, not it doesn't kill the actual virus. It's just helps you fight off the virus
without your body tearing yourself up, because what you're basically saying, and this is what I've seen a lot of epidemiologists say, as me watching, is that the bottom line is our bodies are attacking it so hard that it's killing us.
Yes.
Am I correct in that? So
but
you said yes.
That's what, yeah, that's it. But that's why everybody's not dying, because you have a different response. Well, I don't know if you've been exposed to the virus, but
right.
Somebody that has been exposed to the virus and is not asymptomatic, showing us no symptoms, no fever, but they've had the virus, they've been tested, they know they've had the virus, but there's no symptoms. It's, their immune system has fought it off somehow.
Fought it off in a way without destroying. So
let's figure it out how. That's the thing that we want to look for. We want to look, how did that guy survive when somebody else didn't? What was the difference? Is he, over the age of 35, or different statistics on, is he black? Is he white? Is he Hispanic? Any of those things. And that's all public knowledge, Rusty. We're not trying to hide any of that. I don't know. I mean, if you go look on the CDC website, they'll break it down to you. CDC is the Center for Disease Control. They'll break it down to, the age group between here and here and here and here and here, and who's dying from what. And that's just, everybody's different. That's why you respond.
That's why it's such a battle. That's the battle is, we want to, I think Americans want answers. Well, I wouldn't say just Americans. I would say anybody. We just want answers. And right now it's sort of up in the air. And what we have is a virus that our body's attacking it in different ways. And we really don't know.
They've been like that for everybody. Some people, get the flu every year.
Right.
When was the last time you had the flu?
Well, so here, and I was gonna go there next, and I'm glad you went there. So they're talking about a vaccine for this, right? And so then you've got the argument that, well, the flu, there's a vaccine, and that's not 100%, and blah blah blah. And I just don't think everybody understands this whole 100% shit. But anyway,
well, the 100% is very hard to reach. That's like, okay. If everybody was exactly the same, everybody did the exact same thing, then maybe you might be able to get close to 80%.
80%, yeah, you're right, right. So
100%, yeah.
If we were all the same color, same nationality, if we ate the same food, yeah. So I think that what people are doing is, everybody's worried about, or they're, it's like, we got to have this one thing that's going to fix everything. And I think that's the thing with cancer. That's the thing with everything. It's like, there's got to be one thing, and there's just not. Maybe because we understand a car. Maybe because we understand when my car's acting like this and I put a battery in it, it fixes it. But we're not a car, right? So, and I can't remember what you said, and then you went off into a bit of a, you went somewhere else. But I think, God, I don't know where I was going to go with this, and I had something, and I don't remember what you said, and now I'm off the damn rails because it was a great point, and I wanted to touch on that. But what we're talking about right now, guys, and I'm sorry I went off to the rails because Scott went somewhere else. But what you're basically saying is that you said this to me the other night. You said viruses are worse on the unhealthy.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, immune compromised. So if you have your immune system just doesn't fight the virus as well as a healthy person with or a healthy immune system. But you can't go, oh, I think I got a healthy immune system and think you have a healthy immune system.
Right.
There's only I thought I had a healthy immune system, and then I had kids. And then those guys went off to daycare, came back. I was sick for a year and a half.
Yeah, well, okay, there's where I was going. Thank you.
My immune system was for the bugs that we had, not the new bugs that we have now.
Not their shit.
And they brought it back, and I was
sick as fuck.
Sick as a dog. Yeah.
For the whole fucking time.
And friends of mine would ask me, "Are you sick again?" I'm like, I don't think I've ever been healthy.
So I'm going to touch on two things.
The last time. Yep.
That's where you're at there. That's where I was going to talk about. So you talk about the flu. All right. So we have what we call the flu vaccine, right? And I've had people tell me multiple times, do you get the flu vaccine? I've always opted out of the flu vaccine, right? Because I understand that what they're doing is I don't want to say manufacturing, but they're sort of guessing on what the next flu is going to be. And so we're going to give you some dead version of it. And then we're going to build some antibodies, right? Back to the guy over there shooting like hell. But we're going to do some antibodies shoot it in you, get your antibodies up. And then when that flu hits, if it hits, because it's a gamble, we don't know, then you can fight it off because you've got the antibodies, right? I've never done that. Mainly because I've always felt after hanging out with you and multiple friends like you, you're not my only friend that's in this world, but it's like I'm pretty healthy. You know, I eat healthy, I work out 30 minutes a day, whatever. So, you know, my immune system is pretty strong. So I've just opted out of that shot. I don't think I'm wrong by doing it. I don't think I'm stupid. And I'm also not making a statement by doing it. It's just my choice. First of all, number one, what do you think about that? Do you get a flu shot? Let me ask you that.
So I've flip-flopped back and forth. I've gotten it some years and I've not gotten it other years. And, you know, I've been back and forth on, and not because of what I think, it's just more convenience. So they would have it at work. If they had a free flu shot at work, I would go and get the lollipop or whatever. They stopped giving out the lollipop. I was like, well, I'm not going to get the flu shot this year. So, and I have not seen any difference. I mean, I think I'm a pretty healthy guy too. But I don't see anything. I mean, I haven't gotten the flu because I've taken the shot. I know that's a lot of people's concern.
Oh yeah, they think because we take the shot.
The shot that you're going to get it. I have not seen that. When I did take it or not, I've gotten lucky so far. Knock on wood.
Right. Yeah.
I haven't gotten the flu. Whether or not,
I think a lot of people confuse the cold for a flu. You know, a stomach virus is typically a flu, you know, but I think most people don't understand how bad a flu is. And they get a cold and they think they got a flu and then they want to go get antibodies.
Oh, you don't know how many people I've had go, oh man, I was mighty sick in January, February. I must have had COVID.
Tell me that.
And then they've tested and they, nope, you ain't had no COVID. You just been sick. You got, I felt really bad. Well, you felt really bad, but you didn't get COVID, unfortunately, because then you would have antibodies. But,
yeah.
I'm sorry that you felt bad in January or February, but it wasn't because of COVID. It could have been because of the flu. And I mean, we had a scare here. they opened the beaches back up, and our kids went out and started hanging out at the beach. And one of the kids came home and he's like, "Oh, I have a fever." And so we got to shut down. We got a 14-day quarantine, whatever. Luckily, the mother of this kid is a researcher at Scripps or UCSD. At UCSD, she's into pharmacology. So she had the test right away for her and her whole family. And they all came back negative. And they found out in the end that the kid just had poor kid. He didn't have COVID, right, but he had bacterial pneumonia. So we're all like, woo!
Yeah, you're excited. He's only got bacterial pneumounia. Fucking
so
that's not what you want to do because you're like, shit.
Right.
But I get what you're saying.
So we can go to work and your kids can keep going to the beach until somebody comes in contact with the COVID.
Right.
And in the end, we just hope we all have contact and we all get the antibodies and,
Well, so I'm going to go there with you in a second. So that, and that's kind of the herd immunity. So I'm going to go there in a second, but I want to go back to the flu. And again, I want everybody out here to know Scott is a biologist. He's not an epidemiologist. He is working in a lab. He is fighting diseases at the very, at the microbiological level. I mean, you're going after it. You're going after it way before certain people are, or at least that's your attack.
Yes.
So we talked about. So let me ask you, and again, guys, everybody out there is listening. He doesn't. This is his opinion, so I don't want you guys to run out there and go, "Oh, look what he said," and next thing you know, is on fucking TMZ and NPR or what the fuck ever. Scott said this shit's bullshit, But what I want to go was with the flu vaccine, and we're talking about a COVID vaccine, right? And so you're fighting it at the microbiological level, right? So what is that?
So we're on the other end. So a vaccine would be a target towards the virus. They're gonna vaccinate you against the virus. We're looking at the response that the body has towards the virus.
So you're fighting totally different. You're not looking at you're not looking at a vaccine. You're looking at how does the damn body react and how can we help that?
So you'll get a vaccine when they do get a vaccine for COVID too, and it'll. Do
you think that'll happen? Do you really think that'll happen?
It'll happen for sure.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. So let me ask you this. Will it be, that's where I'm going with this. Will it be like the flu vaccine? So the flu vaccine, you don't know?
There's no telling. So the flu okay, I'm sure this is where you were going with this.
I'm trying to get the answers for the people, bro.
So the flu vaccine changes every year. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. As the virus mutates.
Right.
Same thing's going to happen with COVID. But the response your body has is going to be the same. No matter whether it's COVID-1, COVID-2, COVID-3, COVID-5. Yeah. It's going to, your response is going to be the same. So do you go after the COVID and have to change every year, or do you go after the body's response? And it's always going to be a SARS. It's going to be a respiratory virus. So let's take care of, making sure your immune system for this reaction. Exactly. That's our lab.
Your lab is basically saying, I want to go after the reaction, period. That's what I want to do. Mm-hmm. You're not out there.
We're not pigeonholing ourselves into COVID-2. We're going beyond that, looking at COVID 3, 4, any kind of virus. I mean, one of the biggest, HIV is a virus,
right?
And proteases inhibitors on that are a means of treatment for that virus. So why can we not do the same thing for another virus?
Well, you know what's interesting is when you said to me, when you texted me, you said, I normally talk to people about protease. I remember that HIV is where I came, where I remember where I read about protease inhibitors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And we have friends, you and I both, that are, we know, I could name one at least, who is HIV positive, and he's been living for, 10 years with it or whatever. And Magic Johnson, from 1990.
Johnson. Hell yeah. Yeah.
91. So, he's living.
Kicking ass.
Yeah. Yep. And ultimately, right. That's what we want. We want to be able to live, if we can't eradicate something, then fuck it, let's live with it. Right.
Exactly.
Am I wrong in that?
I think that's the way it's going to be with the COVID things. We're just going to have to learn how to deal with it.
Only because it's basically a coronavirus and it's a virus, right? So we have multiple coronaviruses. This is not just one. This is COVID-19. I got that.
COVID-19 just means it was in the year 1990.
And that's it. Because there's
2019. Sorry, this is my third Pliny the Elder.
This is where the beer's kicking in, bitch.
Right. But it's two. It's COVID-2. We had COVID-1 with the first SARS. And this is COVID-2.
So SARS, was SARS and MERS both COVID?
So no, they're different. There's a COVID and a SARS and a MERS, and oh God.
Yeah, I'm pigeonholing your ass on this one.
You are. I don't know what MERS is, but SARS is a respiratory virus, and MERS is it has an R in it, so I would assume it's a respiratory virus too.
Well, we know that MERS.
You can fact check me. I'm pretty sure it is.
Right. So I mean, what right now your lab is saying we are trying to, and we're getting, dude, we could go on and on about this, and I think the viewers would love to hear more.
We could.
But you're getting drunk,
sure.
and you're, I can't anymore. No, these are 1.5-hour deals, right? So, and we'll bring you back on, and I can't wait to bring you back on because we want to get more deep into what's going on without getting confusing, because this is a fucking complicated subject, right? So everybody out here,
I mean, science is kind of rough, man. I'm telling you right now.
Really?
It ain't as easy as you would think it would be. I mean, I would love for it to be a walk in the park, but it's not. It's kind of tough, man, especially when you're dealing with the human body. There's lots of responses to different inputs, and your reaction is different than my reaction to different drugs, and so we got a long way to go, and I feel that we're moving in the right direction. There's issues about ethics. That's why you have people that deal with ethical treatment of animals, or the scientific ethics and business ethics, all that. I mean, Rob was talking about ethics, how you present your data and whether it's true, whether people can believe it and reproduce it and all that kind of stuff. I think overall, in general, we're moving in the right direction towards scientific understanding, and the COVID crisis has pushed us even more to collaborate with different countries and we actually do want to find a cure for or some kind of relief, just so the medical system is not overloaded. I mean, it's okay if you get COVID and you have to stay at home for 14 days or 2 weeks or whatever, a month. That's okay. I mean, so you get sick. I'm sorry you got sick, but you're not dying. It's the people that are dying that have to go to the hospital, and there's so many people that have to go to the hospital that the hospital system gets overloaded. So that's the whole deal with, the masks and trying to confine yourself. We just don't want to overload the system to keep us alive.
And so explain that real quick. So what you're saying basically is that a lot of us are going to get sick, or a lot of us are going to catch it, and we're going to be okay.
We're going to get it. Yeah, we're going to get it whether we get sick or not. And how the severity of the sickness is going to differ between person to person. It's been like, and you can see that.
What's going on right now?
Get sick.
What's going on right now is we're trying to, because listen, dude, I'm an entrepreneur, right? So, shit, I want the damn thing to be opened up, raising hell, going out there and making money left and right. But we still have to be, what you're saying is, we just have to be cognizant of how much we overload.
Right.
Overload our medical system. I think that, and when we talk about overloading our medical system,
personally, that's the thing. And it's okay to open up as long as you realize that opening up is going to expose you more to the risk of getting the virus. Is that going to kill you? Maybe not. If you do get sick and you have to go to the hospital, you want to make sure there's a bed for you. And if there's not, then there's something that's gone bad in the system. And that's what happened with New York, man. They just got overloaded with stuff, and too many people getting sick at the same time, and they overloaded the system, overloaded the health system. So you can't get the.
Now, New York didn't lose all their beds, and they didn't lose all their ventilators, but they were at the verge. I mean, they were overloaded, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you feel for these people that have to deal with this stuff all the time, and it's overwhelming. Imagine you have to go in and deal with the fear and the psychological turmoil you have to go through in order to have to deal with these patients. I mean, they can't see family. I can't fathom that. It's just amazing. And so you just try to walk the thin line between what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And, masks, there's a lot of controversy about the masks, whether you should be wearing a mask. I don't have a mask on. But, I'm not within, 100 yards of anybody in my backyard, so I don't feel I have to wear a mask. At work, it's mandatory for me to wear a mask, and it's mandatory for me to check in every day and make sure that I haven't been in contact with anybody with COVID, or anybody that's been tested for COVID or is in the process of being tested for COVID. And that's all. Again, that's probably more on the business side is, well, we don't want to get sued if somebody were to come in here and bring it into the work environment and then shut everybody down. And then you're stopped again. You're shut down once again. If a restaurant opens up and one of the employees gets COVID or tests positive for COVID, your restaurant's closing back down again. Sorry, for another 14 days.
So let me ask you,
some restaurants, some small restaurant, or mom and pop or whatever, it's like, well, we just opened back up, man. I don't know if I can afford to close down again. just because this guy, and you feel bad for these kind of people. You just feel bad, and there's nothing to do about it.
But the bottom line is these people. I mean, the bottom line is it's serious. I mean, this is real, and as serious. You said, we all active. So, to the masks, real quick. Big question for everybody. What's your opinion of whether you think these things are helping? I mean, from what we can all read, or we see people with the boxes. This does not protect you from COVID-19 or whatever. I don't know if it says COVID-19, but I'm just saying you see that shit online and you always see the conspiracy theorists. But, in your opinion, do the masks help?
Yes.
Tell us why.
It's common sense. To me, it's common sense. If I were to sneeze on somebody and spray them with all my whatever's coming out of my mouth, if I put a mask in front of that, it's going to stop that. Some of that. At least some of that. If not 100% of that. There you go. It's inhibiting transmission.
So even if it's not 100%,
it's less. It's less than if you were to cough into my face without a mask on versus whether you cough into my face with a mask on. For sure. I am 100% positive less shit will fall on me with a mask on. Piss on me with your pants on. It's a hell of a lot harder than it is when you whip it on out, motherfucker.
All right, can you hear me now?
All right, yeah.
That was my fault.
Okay.
So what I was saying
I can't hear
was,
Rusty. What's going on?
I know, and fuck, everybody can hear me, right? I mean, it's like I can't hear Rusty. Jesus, the world has stopped because Rusty is not speaking. So the bottom line is what you're saying with the masks. At the end of the day, is this. I tell people, I like to think about, do you have a shot or do you not have a shot, right? So in this situation, if you don't have a mask on and I sneeze in your face, it's coming. There is no shot.
Yeah, it's coming. Yeah.
But if I have that mask on, there's a possibility that it doesn't get to you.
That is correct.
And that has nothing to do with the N95. That has nothing to do with anything. You're just saying, I am blocking
you want
the snot and the shit coming out of your mouth.
Yes.
So as a scientist,
not everybody's going to wear an N95 mask, and we're not required to wear an N95 mask at work. We're required to wear a face covering. So it can be one of those neck gaiters that you pull over, anything that stops spray. So if you try to spit in one of those neck gaiters, you can't hit somebody that's walking in front of you. Whereas if you took the neck gaiter down and spit on them, you would. So that's my take on the mask issues. Any kind of
basically you're saying stop the spray.
Yeah.
Stop the spray.
And you can stop the spray by staying 6 feet away from somebody or 20 feet away. The further away you get from somebody, if you sneeze, it's hard for me to hit. And Tracy's, good thing it doesn't spread with farts.
Because you
or else you'd be dead already. Yeah. And And I can crop dust the whole damn field, man.
Well, man, dude, we went. Normally, I'm at 8:30. We were at 8:48, dude. And
yeah, you've been going at it forever, man. And I know Rusty. We can go at it. We can talk for days, man, and not stop.
What did we burn up? What did we burn up the other night? 3 hours?
Something like that. After we already said it, or it's not going to be 3 hours. Sure enough, it's over 3 hours.
So it's just so the listeners know, I call Scott and he has to look at his wife and go, "Do I have time to talk with Rusty?" And then she decides. That time
is at least 3 hours.
Yeah, fuck. I mean, I try to tell you, man, it's only gonna be an hour and a half, 1.5,
right,
1.5.
One quick. Man, I only got a quick question for you.
No, we're not.
And then the next thing.
Go.
No, and then the next thing it is. We're talking together for 3 hours.
One more thing. Yeah. It's a. So the problem is that I'm on the East Coast, you're on the West Coast, so I get fired up around 11, and then your ass is only at 8, and I'm like, shit, he's up. I'll call him. What's up, boy? And that's how it works.
And then I have to go to 11, and Rusty has to go to 2 o'clock in the morning.
Like 2 in the morning, right? But you know what, man? I tell you what, bro. I will say this. I've never woken up the next morning and said, I wish I wouldn't have, right? You know, the time that I spent with you on the phone that night any of the nights was perfect.
All the nights, awesome. Man. It's always fun, Rusty.
Oh, it's always fun, man. I miss you. We love getting together,
too, man. I miss you.
So we'll after we end this, I'll call you real quick and we'll talk about your trip to here in August, and we'll discuss and maybe we can get together. But for the fans out there, for the people that are watching, I don't know how much you guys got. I don't know if you learned anything tonight. I don't know.
Oh, I didn't get any questions.
Yeah, well, I don't know that. I don't know that yet at this point. But what we're going to do is, we're going to definitely have you back. There's no reason why not. And we'll try to get out to everybody and try to get people to give us some questions. Julie's been over there running it, but we haven't even gotten to the question point because we've just had so much fucking fun. So I want to say to everybody, hit me up. Let me know if you have any questions. We'll bring Scott back. We're going to bring you back anyway, because no matter what, I don't think we touched. I mean, we touched maybe.
We didn't.
Well, 1/64th of who you are.
Right. From the 3-hour conversation that we had before, this is nothing.
Fuck yeah. So I mean, me and you the last time in 3 hours, we saved the fucking world.
We did.
We did it all. But Scott and I are such fucking great friends, and we've ridden motorcycles together. We've done so much together. I can't even tell you, but I want to thank you, man. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us right now. We're going to get you back because, dude, you opened up about 47 caverns that we need to get to. And just so I want to make it very clear to the audience is that Scott is not an epidemiologist. He's not a doctor. He's a biologist, and he is attacking disease in a different way than most do. I wanted to bring him to you so that you could hear his points and how he's going after any disease that he's going after. If you have questions, please come. This was not to, please email us. Please, find out
Let me know any questions. I will be happy to answer the best of my ability. What we're doing, what I've heard as far as, what other people are doing in the field, if it's on COVID or if it's on cancer. Hey, I got nothing to hide. I mean, when I eat,
I like to hear that. I got nothing to hide.
Wait a minute. I told Rusty that I didn't want to talk exactly about what we were doing, but then I'm like, we're so far more advanced than anybody. They can know what we're doing and they can't catch up.
Yeah, man. Hey, dude.
Yes,
listen,
sir.
I can't thank you enough, Scott. You have spent your life, well, I mean, really, arguably your life. I mean, 1991 and now.
A big part of it. Yeah.
Protecting us, dude, trying to find a way to protect us and in a different way, right? You know, so I'm over here protecting us security wise. You're protecting us fucking to live in that way. So
trying to make
guys,
your life a little better.
Yeah. And
a little longer.
We didn't get to talk about that. Scott makes $14 million a year, dude.
Right. Yeah. Rusty always throws in the rich guy from San Diego. Just because I live in San Diego doesn't mean I'm a rich guy. For sure.
No, I know. I just want everybody to be mad at you because I want them to know that you're rich, even though you're not. I think that's what I'm going to do from here on out. I think I'm just going to tell everybody that the person I'm talking to is so fucking rich that, you know, be mad at him. But no, I'm total joking. It was fun. Listen, Scott Snipas, thank you so much for your time, dude. I think people are going to have fun with it. I think they're going to enjoy listening to it. We're going to bring you back, no doubt, because we went through so many. I mean, shit, this could take fucking 25, 30, 40, 80 hours. I mean, it's never going to. You've been doing it since 1991. We don't have that many hours on here. But, dude, I can't thank you enough. I appreciate you, bro. I love you, man. I miss you. I hope to see you in August if the world lets it happen.
Right. We'll see what happens with all the reopenings and everything else. If I'm able to get on the plane in August, I'll be out there, man.
If the world lets it happen. And I'll let you ride that Harley again because you never rode a Harley until mine, right?
That's true. I didn't know that they had a turn signal on each handlebar. I was like, why? These guys can't make any left turns?
And what you also see, the one thing you didn't know is that my bike will take the front end off the ground in second and third. The old shovel head will move. Remember when we were riding and you were on that bike? You were like, "Damn, dude, I didn't realize you were just hanging with me the whole time. You thought you had me, and I was on your ass. I could outran you.
You were on it
till you got on it, and then you're like, damn." This old antique will move. This old antique will move. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for the time. Scott, I'll give you a call after this just to bullshit. Love you, man. I appreciate you. Thank you. I think everybody appreciates it. Everybody who came in, thank you so much for looking. We're going to end this damn thing. Scott, I'll give you a call when we're done. If you got any questions, you know how to get there. We love you guys. Thank you. Scott.
Thank you very much, Rusty. Been great talking to you, man.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Bye now.